Today we're talking about selling print on demand on Etsy, and we're here with my friend, my entrepreneur, someone who's been around in e-commerce for a very, very long time and has a lot of knowledge, a wealth of wisdom to share with you, Fernando Sustaita. But before we get down to talking more about Etsy and how you can start selling some print on demand products very, very easily there, do this for me right now. Subscribe to Pin Traffic Power and also subscribe to Fernando's channel so that you can get more of his videos and updates about everything in the world of e-commerce to help you become your success story. So let's talk more about this. How did you get started selling on print on demand? Or actually, do you want to go back all the way back to how in the world you got started with e-commerce in general? Let's do that. Let's take a trip back in time just briefly.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. And yes, YouTube/Fernando Sustaita, one word. And wisdom, well, I'm having an aura right now. I'm kind of like an angel. My ring too. So if you see me like I'm standing still, because I'm trying to hide it. I haven't figured out how to hide that stuff. So yeah, I mean, as everybody else, right? We start doing our e-commerce venture sometimes because it happens. I started back in 1998. Last millennials. Some of you probably were not even alive, but I was a toy collector. I'm a crazy toy collector. I mean, and eBay came out, and and they had Star Wars. Star Wars was hot. They were coming back from retirement. Phantom Menace was hitting the screens, and everybody was like, the bug to collect Star Wars was going, and eBay was the solution. So I bought way too much, and one thing led to another. I was living in South Texas border with Mexico, and I could find the Star Wars toys that were, trilingual. They had this logo that was in French, Spanish, and English. And I realized that they had a market. People wanted those boxes because they were collectible. They were unique to the United States people. Until that day, everything you will buy will be in old toy shops that will get imports. They will be extremely expensive. Now you could get one of those pieces for, about twice as much as you will get them in the store. So I went to a Mexican store across the border, and I cleaned their stock, came, listed on eBay, and my romance with e-commerce was born. However, at the time, we didn't have Facebook groups and stuff like that. So it was very difficult for me to learn the business. I was looking at people that were exponentially growing. They always had like 1,000 listings. And no matter how I try going to all the Toys R Us stores, I mean, I was doing retail arbitrage before I even know it had a name, right? And we didn't have scanners. We had nothing. It was nothing but gut feeling, right? We would go 10 a.m. Toys R Us was opening. They would open the doors, and we would run like crazy animals and grab the whole stack. And then people would call us scalpers. And and we will go home, and we were like, we have no idea what we just got because I have no idea who these characters are, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna sell. And they started selling, and same with Hot Wheels, and same with some other toys that were popular at the moment. But Hot Wheels and toys and Star Wars were my main hit. But no matter what I did, I only had about 100 listings, and I was making about $2,000 to $3,000. I had my family business, with my father, and my brothers, doing wholesale produce. I was making a lot more money than that. So it was more like my hobby to pay for my hobby. And I always wanted to do it right, but I didn't have the knowledge. So go 2003, my business goes under because NAFTA. And I am, the 27-year-old guy, not really unemployed because I was my own business, but I didn't have a job. So I was going to interviews, and it's like, okay, what is your experience? I was the president of a multi-million-dollar company. And they would look at me like, dude, whatever. They would not hire me because legally that was my title. My father made me the president of that company, and I'm like, well, it's what I did. I know how to run a company. So I literally had to say I was a bookkeeper, and then finally somebody hired me. But during that time, I was playing something called Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Were pretty much trading card games that I would go on tournaments, get some cards, and then I would sell on eBay, and then I would buy cards from eBay for cheap, and then I would go to tournaments. I would trade with everybody. I would get expensive cards. I would give it the cheap cards. with their consent. So I wasn't stealing, and I would go and sell again. And I was making about $3,000 a month consistently, but I was engaged. My wife tells me, Fernando, get a freaking real job, and stop playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and let's have a family. So I did what any honorable 29-year-old man will do. I marry my wife, had 3 kids, and went to work corporate. But I did very good. I went all the way to a senior level management in oil and gas corporation doing contract law, and then I got bored. It was just, like going to meetings, negotiating agreements. I was making multi-million dollars, to these old oil and gas companies, and but I was not really making nothing for myself. It was not mine. It was a nice salary, and and I had to ask permission for everything. I had no freedom, and I told my wife, I think we had to start planning an exit strategy. I want to go back to e-commerce, but at this time I want to learn to do it so that when I can replace my income, we're gonna go. And I went and created my company. I did everything else. I started learning. I started with Lego investing, buying and selling Lego on Amazon, which was going really well. And it was like 6 months in, and one day told me, Fernando, the oil and gas collapsed, and we need to let you go. So I was like 100,000+ salary. What do I do? I started looking for another job. There was no jobs in the market. And I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go for it. My wife took a job, went to work, and I started doing e-commerce full-time, buying and selling what I knew what to do, toys. Was Legos, Hot Wheels, anything that I could get, and I would sell. And my business started taking off. And one day, Amazon emails me and says, hey, since you're a FBA seller, we thought you may be interested in merch by Amazon. And I said, no. I don't want nothing to do with intellectual property. I don't want it to do nothing with with anything where I could get sued, because I had been in legal contracts, and intellectual property to me was a main aspect of my job. So I was like, nah, I don't want to touch that. And about a month later, they asked me, do you want to do Amazon custom? Everybody got those emails in FBA, and I was like, well, Amazon custom sounds interesting. I had just met a guy here locally in Houston who had a print-on-demand facility, and he had told me that probably he could create me a private label product that I could ship to Amazon. And I didn't want to really buy all this product, but I said, you know what, Amazon custom may be interesting. So I started doing Amazon custom, and things started really taking off. And about March again, I got another invitation from Amazon saying, hey, do you want to be a member? And I said, I have all these designs already for Amazon custom. Why not? Let's go and try it. And one thing led to another. I was doing Amazon merch. Then they started selling. And then one day I got an email from one of the main VPs for Amazon merch, and saying, hey, you're invited to come to Dallas and meet us in the facility. So we will give you a tour, we will talk about it, and we will bounce ideas. And there's about 6 people that were invited that day. We went. I still friend with 4 of them. We're still very close friends. And we went, and I didn't know I had so much knowledge to print-on-demand facility by going to my friends, by doing my own Amazon custom brand and all this stuff, that when I was there, I was able to give them some feedback on how the production could be done. And they actually called me later to tell me that they had implemented a couple of those suggestions. And without even knowing I was invited by a friend to help run an Amazon custom group. Now, the Amazon custom group wasn't that exciting because it costs money to do something like that. And it wasn't like print on demand per se, where you just go and get somebody else's inventory and they ship it for you and you just get a royalty. This is when you had to put your money up front to get the production done, then to ship, and then he gets his damage, was on your pocket, and the Digger's return was on your pocket, and he gets something was on your pocket. So not a lot of people wanted to do it at the time, so we closed the group. But the influencer kind of deal kind of grew on me, and then I started, I started teaching, and I started doing that. And one day I started doing Shopify, and Shopify was challenging, was very exciting, because now I had a brand that was mine, had a store that was mine. I had something that I could strive that was just not depending on a company to pay me a royalty. And it's something I said, okay, it's time to go. It's time to do this, and there's that thing about Shopify is that it's expensive. You have to invest a lot of money to make money. It's a money pit that you get, you pretty much dump a lot of money and you get a lot of money out, but you dump very little, you get very little back, and sometimes it's not enough to pay for the bills. So I was like, yeah, I need to learn more. So I stepped back, started learning more about marketing, more about Facebook ads, more about retargeting, more about customer experience. And one day Etsy showed up. And Etsy, you guys know, was known for many, many years as a company that was for the moms and pops business of the world, of the United States, pretty much, right? Like if you were somebody who was doing handcrafting stuff and you didn't want to go to the farmer's market and try to sell it, you wanted to sell it online, and you were happy with selling 10 of those pieces a month because it was literally your handcrafted business, Etsy was the right place for you, right? You had, everybody would go there to get handmade. So the idea of print on demand was literally seen as something that wasn't allowed. I mean, you will see people selling print on demand, but with using their cameos, where it was like vinyl transfer and stuff like that. It was everything hand cut and things, it was a different type of business. And and Etsy was happy with that, right? But one day Amazon it said, okay, Amazon custom and Amazon handmade, and it started really damaging Etsy's customer base, because Amazon started poaching these guys, offering more, and a bigger market share and stuff like that. And so Etsy was like, okay, we need to grow, and they found a little niche, how do you call that? Not glitch, but a little loophole in their own rules, that things need to be handmade. And their answer is that every designer uses, or member of his staff or her staff uses their hand to design. Because they're hand drawn. Even if you use a stencil pen or you use a real, pencil, you use your hand to create your design. It's not a robot. It's not an engine. It's you. You are. And the main component of a print on demand shirt is not the shirt. The shirt is just the product where it goes place. It's the design. So they made a partnership with Printful, and with Printful was going to be the only one that had integration with them to test. And this was one of those approved production partners to Etsy. So Etsy was saying, hey, this is legit. We're going to let you do it, but do it with somebody that we approve. So of course, everybody in the Amazon community is like, let's go and flood the market, with every single crappy design that we have ever made, and let's sell them on Etsy. So yeah, Etsy saw a big, increase on their insertion fees, but they also saw a bunch of increase on, on the database sizing and stuff like that with all this junk. So they're like, okay, yeah, but it's not really what we had in mind. They realized that they needed to have quality sellers, and so that they could actually make money out of sales, not only or insertion fees, because the insertion fees is 20 cents per every 3 months or every 4 months, something like that. So they're like, we need sales. We need to have conversions. We need to get customers happy. We need to have customers that when they come, they purchase. They were having so many cart abandonments. And so a lot of people started saying, Etsy doesn't work. Etsy doesn't work. The reality is, this is not Amazon. This is people that go on Etsy are a more selective group of customers that are actually looking for something that is appealing. And that's when Etsy decided to become a marketing platform. And that's where I came in. When Etsy decided to become a marketing platform is when I said, okay, I can apply my Shopify knowledge on Etsy, and this is when Etsy started paying off. Because now in Etsy, I was able to utilize everything I knew on how to get marketed, customer attraction into making them a conversion, and have customer satisfaction at the same time by, having and develop a relationship with them, and not only for that purchase, but long term, because Etsy was allowing me to make their customer my customer as well. Something that you will never see in any other print-on-demand platform. Actually, in any other marketplace, Etsy allows you to get the email of the customer that just made a purchase from you, and also allows you to actually ask for an email from a customer if they want to go to your newsletter. So, and that became very attractive to people that were marketers, that were into Facebook ads, that were into advertisement, because now we're like, okay, you're telling me that I can open a niche store in a platform and I can actually retain the customer, so I can retarget them again whenever I have a new product that they may be interested. The answer is yes. And people always tell me, Fernando, you're lying. Etsy doesn't allow for that. It's not the terms and conditions. Then why does Etsy has an approved, partnership with Aweber, right? It is approved. You can. They actually have it. You go into Etsy and you go into the apps in the dashboard. They have Aweber integration, which you click in integrate. Aweber integrates perfectly with Etsy, and every single time a purchase happens, the email goes into that. If that wasn't allowed, that API will be completely blocked. I mean, so you can. The only rule that you have is that you cannot use that customer for nothing else than to drive them back to Etsy. And it's been phenomenal, right? Because you have a niche. Every time you have something for them, you tell them, hey, we have a new product, come here, or hey, we're running an X promotion, come back. Hey, we are actually going to be doing some pre-ordering for X product. Would you be interested? It's going to be checked out on Etsy for Christmas. We just testing in the market. They want to join your Facebook page. They can. So you can build a long-term relationship with them. You can email them saying, even though Etsy sends automatic emails when a purchase happens, when the shipping happens, and when anything else, they have nothing against you saying, hey, I know Etsy already sent you an email that this was done, but I use as a seller, I want to thank you personally for making this purchase. And if it's anything else you need to contact me about, please email me and I will gladly answer anything. That goes a long way, something that those automatic emails doesn't have personalization and a human participation. Customers tend to feel that they are now being contacted by somebody who cares. And so you can echo all those emails if you want to, and then you can send an email like even 10 days later, say, hey, I know you have received your product. I know by now, you have probably even worn a couple of times. If you give me a picture, you wearing it, I will give you a 30% discount on your next purchase. Social proof is amazing. And a lot of people actually fall for something like that. I'm saying 30, but you can say 10, 15. I mean, everybody has their own price, and people tend to, say, I don't mind, they send you the picture and you can use it for the social media for perfect advertisement. You no longer need fake mock-ups, and it creates validation that people are actually wearing your brand. One of the things that a lot of people fail to understand is that we are tribal people. If we see people wearing your product, they feel that they should be wearing that product. And by getting social proof that people are wearing it, people feel like, oh, okay, I am going to look good on it because that person looks good on it. Of course, it's somebody that is not really pleasing to the eye. It would be a very bad idea to use that as a social proof. But, usually people who sense that, it's somebody who is, proud of their body, proud of how they look, and they send you something like that you can use. And that is something that you will never get out of any other marketplace like Amazon or Etsy. I mean, Amazon or eBay, or even, or merch by Amazon, whatever marketplace you think about, or Poshmark or all those. You don't get absolutely nothing. Here you get everything. And which is what I say, it's Etsy, it's Shopify in diapers, because a lot of people used to say, okay, I'm going to learn Shopify, but Shopify takes a lot of tools and to move, and has zero market recognition. Nobody knows your brand, but everybody knows Etsy, and they trust Etsy. They feel like if you are on Etsy because Etsy's allowing you to, so they feel far less reluctant to make a purchase there that they will make in your website. But you can start building that relationship with your customers and the brand recognition that if you know some Facebook ads and you know that you have 1,000 emails from customers and niche related, you can create a lookalike audience very easily. and you create a lookalike audience and retarget these people through email, you don't really are sending them emails, you're sending them a targeted ad. And now you can start sending them to your Shopify store, with people that are, according to Facebook, very similar to your own, customers. And that will be a far better targeting than going cold traffic, Etsy, Facebook ads, and getting very expensive pay-per-clicks. Now you know that this is a proven market, that you know what it is. You have the brand recognition by these people that have already purchased from you. They're probably even following already your Facebook page. And now you can send them to a Facebook, to a Shopify store, where now you can start getting, the traction that you need. And that is something that I truly believe, and it's what I focus on my teaching. A lot of people go and teach Etsy as it's just another marketplace. It's like Amazon. Create your listing, and just put the picture, do some keywording, some tags, and that everybody will teach, right? It's the simplistic approach to make sales. And honestly, everybody wants to make sales. Everybody wants to do something. So it looks like, okay, it's approachable, it's easy, it's convenient. Let's earn the way that everybody else does. But that is just thinking about tomorrow's sales. If you start thinking in the marketing strategy of doing something in the long term, you will have bigger returns on your investment, right? If you invest a little bit of time and effort today to get that first email, and a lot of people tell me, Fernando, I don't want to spend $20 to $15 a month. Used to have 3-5 emails, in that account, because my store is new. And I'm like, it's a domino effect, right? I mean, you're gonna probably spend right now, a couple of months to build that customer base, probably $15 a month, and just get very minimum ones. But once you start getting the customers going and going and going, you're going to be getting 20, 30 emails in a week, and then you're going to be getting 20, 30 emails a day, and then you're going to be at 1,000 to 2,000 emails, which an email should bring you an average, of $1 a day, so you know how to target them correctly. I mean, $1 a month, you know how to target them correctly. It's, you just grow that list, and then you have a very perfect, market that you can target anything else. And not only that, you can even do a click funnel kind of deal, and you can target them for very specific products because your brand is your brand. One thing I always tell people, your brand on Etsy has to mirror your brand on Shopify. And when I mean brand, a lot of people, when people talk brands, the first thing people think about brands is colors and logo. That is no brand. That is branding image. Branding is the message. Branding is, your call to action, your about me page. That is your branding. Images and logos and stuff like that, that's just images. And a lot of people offer, I offer you my branding package, and that is a logo and a color, and these are your colors. That is not branding. Branding is about the about me page on Etsy has to match my about me page on Shopify. My social causes have to be aligned. My whys have to be aligned. Everything has to be online in purpose and why you're doing it. You cannot have a store, for example, in the niche of niching and say that you have a store in niche because I love racing cars. That is a complete wrong message. You want to be doing a niche on teaching is because you're passionate about teaching, you're passionate about helping people, and you want to help the community of teachers have a smile on their faces, by offering these products that whenever they wear it, they're going to feel proud of the profession, and they are, then they're ready to rock this product in front of everybody, with pride. And you got to convey that message to the niche because that is your brand. You're the company that makes teachers happy. I just feel like teachers are great members of this community, and I want to open a store because I want to honor them. Yeah, that's baloney. That is not a brand. That is lazy writing. And so every time you create a niche, people do read the About Me page. People read the UIs. People read those images. I see so many times, so many images that have nothing to do with, the niche people are selling. And that only confuses the market. It's like, okay, this person is just selling me something because they want to sell me something or because they're feeling. Studies say that the new generations, buy from a company that aligns with the points of view. If they don't align with your points of view, they will not purchase from you. So you're going to be targeting them as a niche. You got to make sure that you are in the same page they are. Otherwise, they're going to be like, this guy is fake. is not honorable person. I'm not going to purchase from this company. And word of mouth goes around, and there you go, it's your business. So it's a lot of things to be considering when you do something. All your About Me page and everything else has to be very SEO heavy. Google has an immense presence on Etsy, as it does in Shopify, to the point that they index everything. So your store has to be, your About Me page and everything else has to be perfectly SEO, written, so it gets found. And your listings nowadays also have to be written in a way that has to be SEO found. Otherwise, Google won't find you, and you will just be depending on the organic search from Etsy, which is very competitive because everybody is thinking about writing the listing as Etsy wants it, but they forget that Etsy is not a search engine. It's Google is a search engine. YouTube is a search engine. Every other thing else is a search engine, and they need to find you if you want a real organic sale for millions and millions of potential customers that we're not thinking about buying on Etsy, but we're thinking of buying something specific from wherever they're being shown. They can find that specific. And those are the customers that you want to fight for, and that a lot of people fail to look for. And am I going too fast, or am I going to?
Well, you're covered more than just your history. So to do a recap,
You just gotta stop me.
Because you went into several different areas. To do a recap here, you started your journey back on eBay. This was well before there were all of these smartphones with apps, scanning apps. If you sell on Amazon currently or eBay currently, you know what I'm talking about when we talk about these scanning apps. And then you moved to Amazon, and then you opened up a Shopify store and said, wait a minute, I think I need to learn some more things. So then you moved over to Etsy, and you've been selling print-on-demand products there. So for people who are not familiar with print-on-demand products, what that means is you have a design, and that design is placed on a product, and the manufacturer of putting that design on your product then ships it out to the customer for you. So you do not have to buy your inventory in advance. You only have to pay for your inventory after it is sold. So the customer pays for the product, and then you actually pay the manufacturer to manufacture it and deliver it for you. That's the beauty of print on demand, why it's so appealing, because one of the issues as retailers is having very, very high inventory costs. And sometimes putting a lot of money into your inventory and having to have huge investments like that can really tie up your funds and create a situation that is not very good, especially if it's all completely dependent on whether or not you can get those products sold. So then in the world of Etsy, what's nice about that is you can have some control. You have more control than what you do on Amazon, where you are able to build a relationship with a customer. You are able to retain the contact of the customer, where you're not allowed to with Amazon. And I believe you're not allowed to with eBay either. There is no such thing as an email integration with even eBay at this point, to my knowledge. So this is
so. In a while, so I'm not sure, but I don't think you do.
Yeah, it's very, very unique. Etsy is very unique. They're the first ones to be a marketplace that will allow you to retain customer information, where you can recontact them again and again and again and build this loyal customer base. And then moved into talking about branding. And branding is big if you want to build a business for long term. Branding is the next step that a lot of people don't do. They're happy with just selling a trinket, and that's all they care about. I just want to sell stuff. But it's very hard to keep that going and to grow your sales unless you are actually willing to build a brand. At some point, everyone has to build a brand. And what I would do is, if I were to redo it all over again, I would go back and build a brand right from the beginning. That's what I would do, is I would build a brand right from the beginning. Of course, back then we didn't have the stuff that we have now with print on demand and things that are a lot easier. So it may not have been so easy to build a brand as what it is today. Today, it's a lot easier for you to build a brand. So there really is no reason why you're not doing this. And when you're building that brand, of course, just like Fernando said, your brand is not really what fonts you pick out in your colors. That has really nothing to do with a brand. Your brand is your message. It is a clear message that people can understand. And that is part of your overall brand. And when people love your brand, they will continue to buy from you over and over and over again. That's the power behind building a brand, so that you don't have to continually go out and find a new person who wants to buy a product. At some point, you'll have repeat customers, and those are the ones that you want to keep with you at all times. So, with talking about this brand building, it's been interesting because there's some questions I've asked some people who are business owners and they have Shopify stores. And some of the questions I've asked in the questionnaire when they're thinking about marketing is, do you what problems does your products or your brand solve? And I've had quite a few answer it with not applicable. And they actually wrote this down in the survey. And I thought to myself, what do you mean it's not applicable? That is the number one most important thing that you need to be doing. So they're spending tons and tons of money in their Shopify store, and they're spending thousands of dollars running Facebook ads, but they have no idea what they're doing with their brand. They're focused on selling their products to anybody who will buy it, but they're not really thinking about their brand, which could actually sell them more products. So that's what I've run into over and over and over again, is people say that they're building a business, but then I find out that the building of the brand is the business, and they don't have that in place, and they feel as though it's not even important or necessary. If they like the product, they'll buy it, and that's it. But it's the number one most important thing that you need to do. And I've been quite shocked at seeing some of these answers that are coming through when considering marketing and trying to get an understanding of their business and an understanding of their brand. And they really don't know what their brand is about, is what I've been noticing. They have no idea what their brand is about. They don't know if they're solving problems for people or not. They don't know if they're helping them. They don't know if they're enhancing their lifestyle. That's what a brand does. So it's been quite revealing to see those answers coming through. So you're building a brand on Etsy, and you talk about this a lot in your course about how to build a brand, how to get your products into the Etsy platform using different integrations. How many different integrations are there for print on demand that will cooperate or integrate with Etsy?
Well, there are not many that are direct, right? Springful and I believe Printify, which I honestly have never used, so I cannot even give a good thumbs up or a thumbs down. There's the Kuten. There's other integrations that are there. The problem with those is that all of them are accessible to everybody, and when everybody has it, nobody's exceptional. So everybody's pretty much having the same product,
right,
the same concepts, and the same pricing, because they are expensive. Some of these tools, they sell you the product at a higher margins on cost because they give you the tool for free. Now, with the magic of Shopify, you can integrate your Shopify store to your Etsy store through some tools that you can get for an extra money. And when you get those, any other print on demand facility that is worldwide can become now an Etsy supplier. Like Chinon or Custom Cat or T-Launch. They do require to have a Shopify store to integrate with the help of some integration tools to be able to sell. Now you can do Chinon or you can do Custom Cat manually. You want to, one sale at a time, and when you get the sale and go and place the order, that's a lot of work. You have to go to your Shopify store, enter the order, and then it goes to the system. But if you get inventive and you start looking, like one of the things that I am adding to the course in the next couple of weeks, it's once I find the time to actually record all that section, is that I found a way, for example, like to do, a lot of people that are in my course are doing KDP. and they want to sell KDPs, on KDP is a Kindle digital product, which is pretty much a book, a print-on-demand book, and they want to sell them on Etsy. Of course, Amazon doesn't allow you to sell on Etsy, so they're like, how do I sell, print-on-demand books on Etsy? So I started digging a little bit, and I found a way to get Lulu.com, which is the original print-on-demand book print-on-demand company in the world that did it before even Amazon did it, to integrate through my Shopify, through my Amazon, I mean, to my Etsy, and I can now get calendars. I can get every type of journal, leather-bound journals, spirals, and all that stuff. I can get them, doing it that way. And the cost on Lulu.com and the cost on KDP are pretty much the same. The only thing is that you have to have very good integration, and it's a lot of digital work because Lulu.com does not make the mockups for you. You have to make them manually. So, and that is, so it takes a little time. So you have to be really picky on what you want to upload, otherwise it will be a lot of time invested on that. But once you get the hang of it, you can get a bunch of them. But it's something I really like, that it's like you start using Shopify as a leverage tool. You can have pretty much anything you want, on Etsy, and it will go through the flow and stuff like that. Some tools, like for example, T-Launch, all they require is a Shopify Lite, which is $10 a month. The tool is cheap, it's free. T-Launch is free, and you can do that one, or you can go and have China, which requires now a full account, and then requires another integration, and then that gets a little costly. But the margins on something like China on, it's very, very big. So I mean, you have been in that website, it costs like $10 to get a necklace, and you can send them for 40, fully engraved and stuff like that. So there are like all these print-on-demand companies are finding ways to be able to integrate through Etsy. Some are using third parties, some are using direct, because they're seeing the potential, right? They're starting to see that we need to get into that market. And a lot of these guys don't even want to integrate with Amazon because it's a lot of headaches. Amazon, because they don't have a limited listing, stuff like that, a lot of people tend to abuse them and list thousands of listings, just creating, a big backlog for them in their, on their database with all these useless products and all this inconstant in connections with Amazon and with an Etsy people, because you have to pay per listing. People are more picky on what they upload, and they're like, okay, and it's a different type of seller. It's a seller that is now more thinking about what they want to sell. It's more thinking about building a brand. It's more conscious about what products they want to list for their specific niche, than having said, I want to have 10,000 listings, because 10,000 listings will be $2,000, to list.
Right.
They're more like, okay, I don't want to have that. But yeah, Etsy, it's becoming little by little, and I think it's still in the infant stages, because it's like they just had a rebirth like a year ago. They decided, okay, let's change all the dynamics, and now let's see where this takes us. Every single month they're implementing something new, so it's like a continuous learning process for us. But honestly, it's starting to look very, and you can only sell print on demand. You can even sell private label products, as long as you can demonstrate that you created a portion of the process, like like it was some handmade definition in the product. You can sell it. You designed the product, you designed the box, you designed something, you can sell it. There's people even selling courses and digital products in there, because they made them. It's funny that you go on Etsy right now, you search for Etsy courses, and there are lots of Etsy courses for sale. There's a bunch of digital products. And another thing that I like about Etsy is that, for example, Amazon, everybody has to have the first image. It's that ugly background, white background image with the flat picture, that it has really non-flattering way to promote your product. It's really boring, really generic. For some reason works for Amazon. I don't know why. But some products don't really get the best out of them when you list them like that, especially tumblers and mock-ups that they just go like stainless steel piece of junk there with something that people are going to read because they don't have the right lighting and stuff like that. That decreases conversions significantly. Etsy allows us to do anything we want in our first image. You can have a nice mock-up looking, for the product, and saying, hey, you can find this one in X amount of different colors. You can have free shipping. You can even do an upsell kind of deal in your image, saying, hey, buy two get one free. You don't even, because people don't read the titles, people don't read the descriptions, people look at the image, especially when they're on the phone, they're going like this. But if the phone has a very nice upsell thing in there, it's like, oh, let me go see it. It may be worth clicking, right? Or the different colors. Let me go see if I find one that I like. Something that you cannot do on Amazon. You cannot influence the customer in the image on Amazon, whereas in Etsy, you can influence the customer to click, to go there and try to make the sale. There's a little, of course, you cannot say, click here, you cannot do clickbait, but you're doing, reality and say, hey, I do have free shipping. You can put it in that image you want to, as long as it looks clean and professional. And it's something that you don't get the opportunity to do in other marketplaces either. eBay, it's a little more flexible on that, but the images are not as big. People tend to do boring images on eBay still. I don't know why. They want to just showcase. I think it's the old way of doing business on eBay that people are just used to just taking the image and be done with it. Well, in Etsy, you have a Tumblr, you can do a nice background, like it's a beach. You can put a beach in the back, and you could say, hey, this is for, me drinking a pina colada or something, blah, blah. You can make it look like it is part of organic flow of the product, and you can get the customer to take themselves into that scenario and say, oh, this will look good at this party, right? And so it's a lot of, they definitely thought about how the marketers could go. And the marketers are like, okay, I didn't want to go in a marketplace because I don't want to be controlled. But if we're going to be partners on this, where I will bring you the traffic, but you will let me get, the information so they can bring more traffic, it's a win-win. The way Etsy saw it is that only people that knew about Etsy were going to Etsy. But you were incentivizing the marketers to say, okay, you're going to spend heavily on Etsy to bring people in traffic. I'm going to have to give you a win as well. And so Etsy is also the only marketplace that you can have a Facebook pixel in your store. Every single one of my listings has my Facebook pixel. So I can literally run a Facebook ad right now with my Facebook pixel, and I will get all the data from how many clicks, how many everything. Actually, I go to my Facebook page without even running any click, and I have all the pixel fire data that I can analyze, for free. Something that Amazon will never let you do.
Right.
And it's a little tricky in how to set it up. It's not as straightforward as you would like. But it is very, it's an amazing tool.
Yeah. So Etsy, you have a little bit more control over. Amazon does not allow the majority of the stuff. And what Etsy did to compete directly with Amazon, to encourage people to sell their products there, and even to encourage people to enjoy the atmosphere of shopping, is they've made it much easier for the sellers. You're able to do a lot more things that you would never be able to do on Amazon, including, running ads directly to Etsy. You can get some analytics as well from Etsy, which is pretty cool.
You can connect Google Analytics as well. You can run Google ads either from inside Etsy or from inside your Google dashboard. Honestly, I would rather run it from my dashboard than running through Etsy, because I will get better data running from my dashboard.
That's right.
But you can do all that, and it's something that it's beneficial. My Lord. Sorry.
Yes, you can get the integration. Well, you can connect your Etsy store to Google Analytics.
Yeah, it has a section where you can enter your Google Analytics number.
Yes, and that's going to be very, very valuable information. That's where your real data comes from, of where is my traffic coming from, what are the sales, what is exactly bringing in the sales. And that is a gold mine right there with the Google Analytics. So you cannot do that with any other marketplace platform.
At all. I mean, so
yeah.
I know all this conversation sounds a little, probably a little more complicated than, but honestly, it's worth it. It's worth learning how to do all this, and it's going to be a differentiator, because at some point you're going to have to get either a WooCommerce or a Shopify store or whatever type of store.
Yes.
And Etsy will be a more viable way to learn how to do it, and get some traction, understand if you and learn some marketing, write that copy in those emails, all that stuff. Because I understand that it gets really, because you have to help all the organic traffic. Every time somebody brings, a customer, it can run ads right now, and a lot of people will come through that ad, and then they will go inside the Etsy world and they may buy from somebody else. It's a risk. But, every other person that is doing the same is bringing traffic also for me. And that will benefit completely everybody. And so that is a win for us. We don't get that extra flow of traffic. We're running our own Shopify store. There is nobody running traffic to the next door store because, we're not connected. So there is nothing really to win. Now, of course, you're going to make a lot more money doing your own Shopify store, but, because you have limitations on the marketplace here and stuff like that. But it's the best way to learn marketing, invasive marketing.
It's a great place to get started. And then when you're ready, you can open your Shopify store. But that doesn't mean that you have to close down your Etsy store. Keep it going. Keep it going. You can have some great leads coming in and they can visit your bigger store, and your bigger store may have some really unique things that are there. So you can use Etsy as the landing place for people to get familiar with your brand. And then they will discover that you've got even more stuff over here. And I know of a lot of people who do that. They've started with Etsy store and then they've built out a bigger store using Shopify. Once they developed a really nice customer base, and all they had to do was just email them and say, hey, we have the grand opening of our other store, come visit, and they do. And so they were able to be successful right out of the gate with customers because they built up a customer base on Etsy first. So, I think that's a really great way to get started if you're trying to do something in e-commerce. The issue with things like eBay and Amazon is, just less control, and you really at some point need to become a little bit more independent, because if you are selling products and that is your main livelihood, and Amazon says, I'm sorry, we're going to suspend your account, or eBay does, and they do that often, you're out of your livelihood. So if anything, not saying don't sell on those platforms, because you can still make really, really good money selling there. But the reality is you need to diversify. And so, and you don't want to stop what you're doing. What you want to do is open an Etsy store, diversify, make sure that you have something that's bringing in some income that is going to be there for you no matter what. And you can keep that income coming in no matter what might happen with these other marketplaces where you have zero control over it. So I think that's really, really important. What types of products can you sell on Etsy? I know there's lots of print-on-demand products like T-shirts, coffee mugs, tumblers. There's, even more than just the basics of that kind of stuff. Do you think also, as the other part of that question, that people who already sell on Etsy right now, would they be able to really benefit from your course by learning more about branding, learning more about kind of some advanced strategies as well of really how to get more sales in your Etsy store?
No, one of the things that a lot of people approach me, when I for consulting and stuff like that. One of the first things they always ask me is like, I want a different supplier. I'm using Printful. It's too expensive. I cannot compete.
Yeah.
So I help people find a different supplier. I also help people, and the way to do it is you have to start learning how to set up a Shopify store, how to get stuff like that. So yes, at the same time, in this course, you're learning how to create an Etsy store from scratch completely correctly, filling all the information, doing the right, answering the right, everything else. A lot of people just go and open a store because the courses don't cover that area because they think it's irrelevant. My Lord, I can always stop those. And they go and fill the name, the store, the payment information, They whatever banner they ask them to fill, and they open the store, and they sell and they don't care, and they're selling here and there, and they're like, well, I'm not getting that many sales and stuff like that. What they don't realize is that every single aspect in the store, every single line that Etsy asks for, every single thing that is being asked, it has a purpose. It's not that some developer just went and say, I want this check mark here for you to not check. They want to know why, they want to know something so that they can benefit you. Etsy, like every marketplace, benefits people who actually takes the time to fill the information correctly and stuff like that. So all this stuff, I tell you why to fill, why it needs to be filled, why you need to do this here. When you're creating the listing, a lot of people just go title, tags, images, and list, and there is a reason why they want to know your production partner. There's a reason they want to know, what the materials are. There's a reason why they want to know what colors. People was like, the colors are already in the listing. I don't need to tell them what colors, because the integration tells them the colors. But they don't know that those colors check marks are for SEO purposes. Yes. They don't know that everything else in there is hidden for search, to create all these searching, parallels that they do. And every single area in the listing, in the description and everything has a real purpose. And people don't know that you can do marketing techniques in your images as well. Like for example, you only have 6 pictures used from the mockups, and you're like, I want to do the 6 and all the other ones. One can be a materials image. The other one can be a sizing tab. The other one can be like a coupon for your next purchase, and the other one can be like visit my Facebook page if you want to. So it's like a bunch of different images that you can put in there you really want to. You can change the order. You can do A/B testing, for example. Mm-hmm. You have this shirt that nobody's clicking and you have it on black, but you know that you move the image number 3 to image number 1. Now it becomes purple, and maybe purple looks amazing. You can do that. So you can see how those images are doing. So all these little things I cover in my course. So my course is done in a way that start thinking as a marketer, not as an Etsy marketplace seller. Everybody else is going to teach you how to open a store, start selling, use Printful, use Printify, use Gulten, because they are not thinking outside the box. And some probably even referred to Launch because they heard about it. But there is over 100 different print-on-demand facilities you can use for that. And I talk about that in the course. And like, for example, I offer full sublimation products in my store that are way cheaper. I have right now in my Etsy store a hoodie that has a beer bottle in the middle. It has a little hole for the beer bottle, so you can hold the beer bottle in the stomach. And it has a can opener, chain inside the hoodie, and it's full sublimation. And that's from W Fulfillment. And I'm selling that on Etsy, because I can. So it's like I can just list it, and it's like a couple of listings, and it's all that, all the other products you can do, how to get the emails, when to answer customer service. People hate customer service with passion, and customer service is, if you are afraid of customer service, you really shouldn't be in this business, because it's part of everything. So I teach you why you need to answer, how to, stuff like that. We have a group where we talk about these things as well. So even if you have a store, you probably had the store set up thinking as a marketplace, but you don't have it thinking as a marketer. And you want to succeed long-term, forget about Etsy, long-term on e-commerce. You need to start becoming a marketer. This will help you, for Shopify store, this will help you. You want to run a funnel in ClickFunnels, so you want to do anything else, at least it will help you understand how the marketing world works. And that is something that I completely focus on that. In my course, I also have collaborations from Emma Hammond, who is a chatbot creator from ManyChat. She has a step-by-step process on how to create a chatbot for your Facebook page. So when a customer comes, they get into your chatbot, and now you can retarget them every single time in their Facebook. We have a branding expert. This is Lava Toreba, which is teaching branding. And, and so we have different people that go and also give small classes to them on that, some product research about how I find different products and how I do my market analysis, how I go on Etsy and find how I find, like, for example, this product in pre-launch, and I'm like, okay, this cost me $3.50. Let's see. And then I go on Etsy and find a product that is distributed by that same supplier because the mock-ups are the same and the contents and everything in the description is like, this person just went lazy and just let the description that was already filled out be the description for the product. They didn't bother to do anything else. And I said, okay, look, these ones are selling for X amount. So, and then we started looking for more and more and more. And I said, okay, $3.50, you can sell them for $16.99. Yeah, we have margins here. We can list this. This one is $6, but look, there is people that are making this at home and they're selling it for $10 and they look more, or like more, they look better because they're like handmade and stuff like that. They have more detail. It says, forget about this product. You will never be able to sell that because yours are going to be, they're going to look computerized, and those ones are going to look like they actually went and burn it with their hands and stuff like that, and they're selling extremely cheap. Don't touch that product. You're never going to make any money. So we go into things like that and understanding how to not I don't teach how to look for winning designs. I think people know that about how to do it, like from like 100 different people. I find them how to win a winning product, which is more important. Everybody wants to sell shirts. Everybody wants to sell shirts. And in Print on Demand, honestly, the shirts sell as a result of something. You have to bring the traffic to them, but you have to bring the leader, the traffic leader, which is the one that is going to bring somebody to your store, and then look at the shirt. People don't stop and look at shirts anymore because they're everywhere. So you have to have a product that is a product differentiator that is going to bring people to say, oh, I haven't seen that, and I'm interested, and I want to look at it. And there are thousands of different print on demand products that you can sell and still make a difference. Now, some may sell a lot, some may sell a little, but what people doesn't read, people is like, oh, this one only sells 100 a month. 100 a month at $10 profit. That's, that's $1,000. Now find 10 of these products and that's $10,000 a month. So do not limit yourself onto the numbers, saying because you have 10,000 listings on shirts and you sell, $1,000 profits. That's 10,000 listings. Find a product that is going to sell you 100 times and you only have to list it once, so find something that is unique. So to answer the question, before I go in circles again, yes, it will help anybody.
Yes, I do believe that as well. So if you are a beginner or if you already have an Etsy store in place, there's a lot of great information in this course that is going to go into detail about things you probably didn't realize that you need to be doing right now to increase your sales on Etsy. And the other piece of that puzzle is there's a lot of artists. And I know this from being a musician myself and being around lots of artists, that the artists take great pride in their art. And that's what they want to do, but they're not so good at trying to sell their art. They're not great at trying to learn how to market. So you can be a fabulous artist, but if you're not sure how to actually sell your artwork or whatever it is that you are doing, then you definitely need to take this course because it's going to help you start getting the sales. It's not that there's something wrong with your products or your art. It's just that you need some knowledge. You need some skills and some things that you can take action on. So the name of your course is Etsy Pod Secrets, and it is open and available for people to join. Anything else that you want to talk about with the course?
I just want to expand what you just said about the artist. I have a very good friend who is she's a painter, and she does beautiful art. And but she was getting this art and selling it one time only. And I told her, you're doing it wrong. You can sell this 1,000 times. And she's like, what are you talking about? So I told her how to put it on canvases. And she's been killing it. And then I told her, let's put these ones on a jewelry box. And we put the designs on jewelry box, and she's been selling them as well. And there are many different products that you can find for artists, and she's like, she was selling these pictures for like $100, and now she's selling them, like just keeping it and now selling the original later on, like, and say, hey, look, this one has so many reproductions. I can sell it, now at a gallery saying, hey, this is the original one for that. And it's starting to work for her. So everybody can actually benefit from that. And also, if you are from the old school of Etsy, you didn't have to learn this because you didn't need to. But you have probably seen lately that your sales have been decreasing because, the bigger market that, came and, and started, taking over the environment.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that your product is not well accepted. People are not finding it because at the time it wasn't relevant that you create the right listing. You were unique, you were being found, but now with the market, with the market saturation, with the keyword saturation, with everybody using the same words, you're being buried at the bottom, of the listing. And you're not meeting now the minimum standards because, for example, Etsy, before they consider your store, now it's that you have to have 50 listings. And the moms and pops businesses, so to yesterday, they had 10, 20 listings. So to today's standards, they're considered, amateurs. And they are used to being shown as prominently as they used to be. So they need to learn how to increase that exposure in Etsy. And this course will benefit them from that as well. Because this is not, the reason I named it POD is because my audience was POD. And I have a section that focuses entirely on POD, but everything else around it,
exactly,
it's irrelevant of what you sell. You can sell, anything you want in there, and paintings and handmade products or anything like that. It all applies. You remove use the section having to do with print on demand. I don't teach print on demand in that course. It's just about how to sell more print on demand products in Etsy, following today's environment.
Yes, you could use the course to sell more of the products of whatever it is that you're selling. You can add on more products in your store using print on demand if you want to, but you don't have to. But the idea behind it is that you really understand Etsy inside and out so that you can increase your sales of whatever it is that you want to sell. It doesn't matter if it's your product that you have already that you're creating, or if it's a print on demand product, whatever it is, you need to get some skills and some knowledge base. So this is what's going to help you. All right. Well, we need to wrap up here. But the question of the day is this: do you currently sell on Etsy? If so, what types of products do you sell on Etsy? Leave a comment down below. And then before you go, yeah, he's ready to answer. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, Pin Traffic Power, but also subscribe to Fernando Sustaita's channel as well. And I will leave that down below in the links. And I will also include a link to the Etsy Pod Secrets course down below so that you can go and check it out right now. I encourage you to get in while you can so that you can start increasing your sales, diversify your income, start creating multiple streams of income. This is highly important for you. Any last words that you want to say or anything that you want to share?
No, I appreciate it. I'm sorry at the beginning I just went. I was like, when is she gonna stop me?
Well, when we get excited about stuff, it's hard to stop.
I mean, if you have known me for a while, you know that once I start talking, I'm extremely excited what I do. It's something I am passionate about. I love talking about what I do, and and it's something that drives me. It's I could be doing anything right now, anything else. I could be selling, vacuum cleaners if I wanted to, but I really enjoy doing this and I enjoy teaching about it. So at least you will get that from me, passion. And it's something that, people that have followed me for a while know that I'm very straightforward when I think about something and you can expect, the reality on it is something that is, I believe is not going to work. I would tell you it's not going to work. But Etsy right now, it's one of those that I believe that it's worth investing on it for the long term of your e-commerce business. Even if the wave takes a different turn in a month or two of a year, you will have something that other marketplaces are not giving you, and that's the marketing knowledge of having how to target your customers. And that is something that you can take to the bank every single day from now on. Either you do affiliate marketing or you do, Shopify store or any type of sales is something that you will use. It's a skill that you will use, and it's relevant for today and tomorrow.
Yes, and we are in this world moving more and more towards e-commerce, online sales all of the time. So if you are a brick and mortar mom and pop business and you're feeling the squeeze, you're feeling the pinch right now of, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep our physical storefront open for very longer, get on Etsy immediately as fast as you possibly can so that you can keep doing what you love. And you're going to have a lot less overhead expenses. Your stress is going to reduce down, and things will be a lot easier for you, and maybe a lot more fun so that you can get back to doing what you absolutely love instead of worrying about so many overhead expenses and how am I going to pay the bills. So I think it's great for everyone who is transitioning. And I know that there are many out there who are transitioning from their brick and mortar stores to, where do I get started? Where is a great place for me to even begin trying to sell my products online? Etsy is probably one of the easiest and one of the best ways for you to get going. So definitely get into the Etsy Pod Secrets course. I'll leave a link down below. And we'll talk to you again very soon.